Yo, I'm Drunky,
I'm the Flood.
and welcome to the Fortnite Update, where we talk about all the news, esports, and patch notes related to Fortnite. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and the video. If you're one of our audio listeners, make sure you leave a review on the podcast and drop a comment. Tell us what you guys think about this. All right, this is episode 9 of the podcast. It's October 17th. Let's start the update. All right, Flood, so we had some questions dropped to us from the wonderful audience for the Fortnite update. Let's get into a little bit of this viewer mail. Coming in from Growl Growl Pig Squeal, he asked me, what was it like watching Tfue clutch the 2 wins for the Rift Raiders? This is from the fall skirmish that went on last week. It was a solo gameplay. Tfue, once again, just kind of showed how dominant of a player he is at
Indeed.
Fortnite, and why, he arguably is like the best at the game. Even with all these variables that go on, he consistently shows up and wins these in the solos. What was like for me? Really amazing. And because the Rift Raiders have been in a little bit of a struggle in terms of the clubhouse points or whatever. We've kind of been we've been straddling 4th place. We kind of fell down to 5th place. So Tfue like showing up and bringing these points in for me was like huge. If we get to like the 4th place, it like doubles the prize money for the club. So I'm like, go, buddy. Like, I don't even want to be in these. Like,
Let's go, Tfue. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Like, I was at Epcot watching this stuff, right? So I had it up on my phone while I was in line for rides and getting food and stuff. And I'm sitting there like a dork and just like, let's go, Tfue. Let's go. And like everyone's just like staring at me like I'm a weird, 32-year-old fat kid, which I am. But I normally like to do it in the privacy of my house in front of a webcam. Now I was out in public doing it. It's just a lot weirder.
At an amusement park, no less, where there was other kids who wished they were watching Twitch as well.
Yeah,
so
I could have just shared it with them. They would have loved me.
They would
like,
have worship. Yeah,
drop that follow notes.
Tifu's just waiting for you to carry him, man. Don't worry.
It's coming. It's coming.
It's happening. We also had Slim Thugless weighing in on the Skull Trooper question. He said the Skull Trooper hype wore him out, but the Ghoul Trooper, on the other hand, he'll be copping that one for sure, just in case they ever bring back the Thanos LTM, because Gamora must have her revenge. And I just thought that was hysterical. I had to read that out because that is wonderful. I love the idea of having, because she's got that beautiful green color on the Ghoul Trooper, which is my favorite part of her. The idea of Gamora coming back would be hilarious. I don't think they'll ever get a Thanos mode back again, because I think that, well, actually, if there's another Avengers coming, you never know. They could cross promote. It's as easy as that. So why not, right? Maybe they will. That'd be cool.
I actually wish they would have done like their own villain for that mode, so they could have brought it back more often. Because like I don't know, man. Like it was a lot of fun. It's such like a different gameplay mode.
There was like a rumor that they were going to use the Leviathan skin and like make it bigger and use that as the the one with the fish head or whatever.
Yeah,
they were talking about using that as the Thanos mode. But I think that was just like rumors and conjecture on Reddit or whatever.
Let's get these rumors and put them in game.
I know.
All right, so the patch this week brought a like heaping load of content for us to talk about. The biggest thing to talk about in terms of like gameplay would have to be the new Quadcrasher. This is a 4-wheel ATV added to the game. As you drive it, it builds up a boost. You can use the boost for a turbo, and it also, while you're in this boosted mode, it breaks builds. All builds.
Does it ever?
It doesn't matter what type of wall it is. That thing is coming down if you touch it, man. What do you think about it?
It does not mess around. Yeah.
You liking it? You loving it?
I haven't been on too many of them yet, but every time, at first when I saw them in the distance, I was like, oh, okay, that's, whatever. As soon as I got on one, I was like, this is the best thing of my life. I freaking love it. It is so much fun. It's easily the newest, like most fun item they've added in ages. Like I thought grapplers were fun. Screw grapplers compared to this. This is magic how much fun it is. It feels preposterous tearing down buildings, because you go through like 5 walls before you slow down. Like you can literally demolish buildings better than C4 ever did. It's a joke. Which means I don't know how it's going to play into competitive, but because it's so like peculiar, like you have to go find the item, drive it in, like you expose yourself hugely by driving it. Because of that, I think it's balanced. Like I think it's okay.
I do too.
You can rip things down.
One of the things I absolutely loved about Fortnite in the beginning is that there was like no vehicles. And I said this when the ATKs were introduced, is like, I'm very nervous about vehicles being added to this game.
Yes.
Because I didn't like them in H1Z1. I didn't like them in PUBG. But for some reason, Epic just feels like they're nailing vehicles in this game. I think it's because nothing is like fully enclosed. You're so open to getting shot.
Yep.
And then, each item has such a unique aspect to it, being able to like bust down these buildings, and they're so comical in the way they do it. That like I am just having tons of fun being able to like burst over a ramp and like switch seats to the back and like start spraying an RPG or anything, dude. It's just a absolute hoot
The
for the
clips are
Quadcrasher.
nuts. I'm
Yes.
with you, man. The clips are already nuts. I've seen people flying on their new little Quadcrasher and hopping onto the back, sniping, landing back on. Your character actually like gets up with both feet on the seat. Like
Yeah.
it's so freaking fun. And I think one of the differences in Fortnite is that none of these are necessary. You do not need this
Hmm.
vehicle to get in from the zone. There's other ways. Nothing is necessary. It's just this added way of playing the game, and I think that's what makes it fun compared to, for example, in PUBG, you needed to find that Dacia or you were going to die. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Yep.
and it didn't do anything extra fun. Like, it's kind of fun to flip it around or whatever. But these are like built for fun, and I love that. I think that's what makes it work.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about their placement around the map, because I think that basically they spawn where ATKs was. Sometimes there's a chance of them spawning or the ATK, but there are
Hmm.
also a lot of new spawns being placed around the map. While you're going around, you're going to see a lot of cars and like RVs and trucks hauling kind of like trailers behind them, wooden trailers, and these are spots that the Quadcrasher has a chance to spawn at, and these are in like the hills above Tilted, a lot of in between POIs, which are kind of like dead zones in terms of movement. They actually started adding them. What do you think about them doing that? Is this like a decent replacement for the rifts, or are we in a brand new territory with them?
I'm down with it. I think anything that keeps the map open and allows you to move around it is better for the game. When they got rid of bounce pads, they've needed more replacements. I think you brought that up actually,
Hmm.
and the idea is that I like the ice traps kind of work. You can slide into the zone sometimes with those, but you've also got grapplers that can help you run. You've got a few new things, and the shadow stones work as well, which
Hmm.
are really fun actually. As it turns out, I was surprised. Um, but adding one more element to just get like I like the idea that there's an eclectic element of ways for you to get in as opposed to just rifts or just one thing or just that Dacia, for example, again in
Sure.
PUBG. I think that it's one more way, and I think that keeps the map open and it keeps it fresh and it keeps everyone moving, and I think that's good. The more ways to not have to worry about the zone, because if when the zone kills you, if you have to run and
Oh,
the zone gets you, it's the worst. That's the worst feeling, whether you're a good player or bad player, doesn't matter. That's the
yep.
worst. And keep that from happening to us in fun and inventive ways, we're gonna keep having a good time.
Yeah. Very surprised how well they introduce all the movement stuff, man. I guess at this point, I'm no longer surprised. I'm just impressed because they just nail it constantly.
Blown
All
away.
right. Next thing that would add it to Fortnite, this huge thing that they just kind of like snuck in on us. I'm not really sure it was hinted. They kind of talked about it when the season 6 patch was released, that something like this was coming.
Yep.
But they have introduced a tournament format into the actual Fortnite. They classify them as events, and these are weekly tournaments that are taking place during specific time frames,
Hmm.
um, specific times of the day, specific days of the week. Right now, we have access to about or information for about 5 of them. They're all based off a point system. So many eliminations will earn you a point. Different placements will earn you a point. And as you do it, these points will add up, and then say you get 20 points in this first tournament, which is called the Alpha tournament, and you get a new pin. What's your initial impressions of the tournament system that they're adding?
All right. Well, the alpha tournament was definitely an alpha tournament. My very
Yeah.
first game should have scored me, I think, 5 points or 4 points. I can't remember what it was. Either way, they got one. I was like, okay, I'm either misunderstanding a very simple tournament format or it's a little bit broken.
Yeah.
Um, you know what? I think what they've done is try to introduce a competitive play mode where there's pub style, just jump into a quick play game. Essentially, I got to
Mhm.
compare it to Overwatch. I can't help myself. It's
Go
either
for it.
quick play or competitive, and I feel like what they're doing is adding their own spin on a competitive one. I like that a lot. I'm already immediately dismayed at the fact that there's going to be days that I miss because I'm like, oh, I'm already, I can't. I got to work
Yep.
that Friday night. I can't be there. I can't
Yep.
play more alpha tournaments. So whatever, that sucks. But it is what it is. So I automatically feel like I'm going to be missing out on certain ones because it's a scheduled version of competitive play. But you know what? At least they're giving us some competitive play. I thought it was a lot of fun. I played a little bit differently. I was really focused and really high, really into it more than I usually might be. And you could kind of see it on the map. People played a little bit funny. And it was an interesting format too because it really rewarded placement. If you get that top 10, then
Mhm.
by default, you're gonna get a point, and then if you can get into that top 3, another point, and so if you're getting into the top 10, you probably get at least a 1 or 2 kills, and then if you get that last one, you're getting into the 3 kills or 5 kills or whatever it was. It's like it's a fairly low minimum to get a point, and your maximum is 6 points. So if you can get even 2 points, you're 30% of the way there. Like, it's not
Yep, yep.
you can play it however you wanna play it. It doesn't reward really high kills, but it rewards okay kills. It
Yeah,
was fun. I don't know. I had a good time.
I was actually a little bit surprised. I thought that the placements, in the alpha tournament, the way the scoring went, if you got 3 kills, you got a point. If you got 5 kills, you got a point, and then 7 kills earned you a point also. And then for
Mhm.
placements, it was top 10, top 3, and then victory royale got you all points.
That's it. Yes, yes.
Um, I felt like it was a little bit low for placements, to be honest. And like my experience in it was like really funny. My first few games, which I didn't get points for, which I'm really upset about because it made me miss the points for the whole thing. Um, it started out with people like trying to replicate like the fall skirmish, right? People were landing at
100%.
like obscure places on the map, like the motels, the junction, farming up, moving in. You could tell people were playing more serious. The level of competition was a lot higher. People, other people other than me like to classify this as sweaty play and make fun of it. I love
Mhm.
this type of play because even in
I'm
a
with you.
casual environment, it gives you a chance to get better. Like you're going against
I
people
I
who are
agree.
trying. Um,
100%.
so it started out that way, and I was, like, really enjoying it, and then as my games went on, I was like, "Man, there are just not a lot of people here in this final circle." It's like the 6th circle, and there's only 3 people left, and so as the drops continued, man, I swear to God, I think about 40 people would be jumping off to the first POI or Tilted Towers, and by the first circle closing, the matches were down to 10 people.
That's hysterical.
It
That's
was a
hysterical. Now, is
ghost
that a
town in
desperate
the
attempt at them to get more kills because they think that's more rewarding, or is it just because people stop caring because like, I'm not gonna get the badge anywhere. I already got the badge and I'm over it, and I'll just mess around now." Like,
I
I don't know
think
what happened.
it was easier to get it was easier to get 3 eliminations off the bat and get a point than it was to wait around for top 10 to get a point. Um, I think when people found that out, this is what they wanted to do. Like if you drop to one of the hotter places, you can get 5 kills pretty fast. So you're getting 5 kills, 2 extra there, you get, 3 points for a game. You're on to your next one when you just die out real quick because you got nothing left. So I think it was people just trying to like get points as fast as possible because the 3-hour window to complete this in kind of felt
Yeah.
narrow.
You can kinda game the system a little bit by that. Just get the early kills, kill yourself.
Mhm.
Get your early kills, etcetera. Just
Yep.
respawn,
Mhm.
respawn, respawn, try to do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whereas I was thinking the other mentality, which was like, "Why am I not just going for top 10? I'll get at least 3
See.
kills every time. That's 2 points per game, no problem. Every
Mhm.
time, and I can time that out, I'll get it." Like, the top 10 is not that hard to get if you just play safe.
Yeah. So,
It's very achievable. I don't know.
what gameplay style do you think you would prefer? Like, if you had to make changes, do you wish it was like run and gun in the beginning, or do you wish more people were playing for like the in-game placements? Like, what's your opinion on where the game should be played in point wise?
I actually wish there was when I'm watching it, like if I'm watching a tournament, I want high kills because that's
Mhm.
fun. But when I'm playing it, I kind of liked the idea of the quote sweaty mentality where I wanted it to last a little longer. And the first few games felt like that, and they were really fun because
Yep.
by the third, fourth circle, there was still like 40 people. I was like, holy shit, okay, this is
Yep.
exciting. And I'm like, where is everyone? And I'm like nervous, and I'm really into the game in a way that I hadn't been in a while. Like it really kind of reinvigorated that competitive feeling in me, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that. So I would prefer more of that, honestly.
Yeah, I would too. And it's like you. I was having a ton of fun. My kind of drops are motel drops. I really like going there, looting up. That's kind of where I go in the skirmishes. Um, and I was really kind of like disappointed at like once I got to my like 4th or 5th game where like the game just changed.
Yeah,
Because by the time the first circle closes in a skirmish, you're still dealing with 80 people. Like people are just
yeah.
not fighting. And so then I was dealing with situations where it gets really frustrating because I know I'm trying to play for late game and then like people are trying to start fights with me, and it's all these people that I feel like watch the skirmishes and are just like, why don't they fight more? Why don't they fight more? Well, there's a reason. Like, I don't want to get
You
into
don't want to take
a
unnecessary fights. You don't want to take
yeah,
fights you're not going to automatic like you don't have an advantage on, etc. Right?
yeah.
Like
Like you
you
spend
take
so many
strategic
matches.
fights.
Yes, like fights where you can sneak up on somebody, all in them real quick. Maybe you're third party in this or whatever. But
Hmm.
when there are like 20 people left, we're not in the safe zone. And then like people are starting to like, really fight me. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we're gonna blow all our mats, dude. And then like whoever wins this is like not gonna go deep in the game because we're out of mats.
We're out of
Uh
mats and out of heals. Like why have you
yeah.
done this to us? Yeah.
So it's gonna be really interesting for the player base as a whole to start to understand that like why um pro players play the way they do. It's not because they're scared. they're all phenomenal. They got great shots, they got great builds. Like, this is all strategy. There's a reason why
Yeah,
consistent people get to the end game is because they don't want to take these fights.
exactly. Toss them into a pub and they'll just roll over kids. Like it's not a big deal. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of when you're playing a certain way, you're playing it for a reason. It's
yeah,
strategic. And I don't know. I don't know if this mode will ever give us that because it is open to everyone, which and because the modes will always get gamed a little bit like we just described,
yeah,
where people are
mhm,
going to be like, well, if I get the 3 kills, I get my points that I needed, blah blah blah, I can move on.
yeah.
Unless there's a persistent skill rating system or yellow or something, I don't know. Maybe that's the way to do it. I'm not sure what you have to do to make competitive
Well,
work. I like the idea that they're bringing it though.
what I think it's gonna cause is like, I've always thought that like the mat game in this game is like really low, right? And like you just don't get enough mats in this game. It just takes way too long to farm up for what you have to spend to get through a fight. And what we gotta remember is this game was balanced on its initial mat gain on a game where we didn't build like this. We used to build a wall, a couple of walls, maybe a ramp. We would use 30, maybe 40 materials during any given fight. And now we're using 1,000 to 2,000 just to get through one fight.
Yeah,
So my hope is like this starts to like showcase to Epic that like, hey, maybe you need to start adjusting some of these types of little things in the game, man. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
that's an interesting perspective. I hadn't really thought about that because I don't feel too bad about their mat balance currently as a
Mhm.
regular public player. Like I usually try to get about 400, 500 mats, and then I feel like I'm safe for a fight. It's not great. I would like more, but I'm
Yeah.
ready to go. And you can do that within a few trees. It's not a big deal.
Mhm.
So I don't feel like it's really off balance right now in terms of that, but maybe that's just my, pub playing perspective.
Yeah.
So I do think it will address, as you say, issues of exactly that caliber in terms of what do we need to do to make competitive play more enticing, and what do we need to
Mhm.
do to make sure that players are interested in being competitive, and what do we need to do to the game, etc. Like it gives you a new sample of how the game will work for Epic to play with, and I'm excited about that in general. I'm excited about the idea of competitive play, as I say. um I'm just eager for more, man. I
Sure.
can't like, play enough Fortnite. I don't know what it is.
Dude, they're adding so much consistently, especially when like COD's like dropping. Like, here's Call of Duty Black Ops for $60, and the season pass is like another 40 on top or 50 on top of that. And then
Yeah.
Fortnite is dropping all this like for free. Like they are taking care of their player base, man.
Do you think that maybe, like, for example, Support a Creator came out at a time, which you should type in DRNKIE. Support a Creator came out, this came out, all kind of in line with Black Ops coming out.
Absolutely,
Is
man.
that a little strategery, maybe? We'll
It
see.
definitely is. There's Epic has they're very shrewd at how
Oh,
they
yeah.
take care of their content creators and like, look who's really taking care of you, okay? Is it Treyarch? No, it's Epic,
Yeah.
okay?
Well, and you know what? The other thing that's brilliant is that Epic realizes that they've gotten big on clips, man. And
Yep.
so they added a new item for more great clips. Like
Yep.
look, half the reason I think they add these crazy items is to keep people excited to make crazy clips for everyone to
Yep.
watch and then want us to try it themselves, etc. Like it's really, really smart. But not only is it really smart, as a player, it's really fun. So
Yes.
it's a win-win, man. I love it.
I've always thought that Epic is a better media company than they are a developer. And I'm not taking a shot at their development, but I'm just saying they're a media company. They know how to do media better than any other development company out there, man. They
They're
are
killing it.
phenomenal at it.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna do it for episode 9 of the Fortnite update. Our question of the week for you to answer in the YouTube comment sections below: what is the next vehicle type that you want added to Fortnite? Let us know. We'll respond. Maybe we'll bring up your answers on the show. That's all for the podcast. You can find me on twitch.tv/drunky and my co-host, The Flood.
Twitch.tv/the flood.
Again, if you're watching this on YouTube and you like the video, make sure to drop us a thumbs up, subscribe so you can come back for next week's podcast. Audio listeners, make sure you drop that 5-star review, leave a comment on what you think about the podcast. See you guys next week.